Welcome to the Consulting Leaders Podcast, where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Guillaume Jouvencel, ex-PwC and co-founder of GHA Marketing. Join me as I interview the best consultants in their niche. Let's get on with the show. Scharrell, welcome to Consulting Leaders. Happy to have you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Let's jump straight into it. What got you into the fantastic, yet maybe sometimes a bit stressful world of executive career? So you've had a long executive career before going all in on coaching and speaking. What got you into that wonderful and sometimes stressful world?
Well, the executive career in and of itself, what got me into it really was just the calling to be able to support and guide and create impact in organizations and with people. And that kind of dovetailed me into being able to take all of what I was able to accomplish, acquire, learn, and develop as a corporate leader and take that into my entrepreneurial journey now as a consultant and create a deeper level of impact for organizations and individuals specifically that might not necessarily have access to it if they're not necessarily working underneath a specific type of leader.
So what is the problem that you're solving today? Like, what is it that you help people achieve?
You know, the biggest thing that I help people achieve, most importantly, is clarity. I move them from this place of confusion to clarity. And it's not necessarily because they're not already established leaders. Most of my clients are executives, high achieving leaders, but they are trying to get to their next personally or professionally. And they're not quite clear on how to get there. They've done all of the things, accomplished all of the goals, and yet they know that there's more that they want, either in growing their organization, net income, personally, or even shifting to a place of legacy leadership. And they're just not clear how to get there. So what I move them to is a state of clarity. And what I offer them as we complete our engagement is Decisive Excellence. And I walk them through how to get to a state where you make decisions in alignment with your end game, not just your goals or transactions, but literally how you want to live, experience your life, the story you want others to tell, and the legacy you want to leave. So I really solve that problem of confusion and move you to a state of clarity.
Talk to me like I'm the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to have clarity? Like, how does that help me, strengthen my bottom line?
Well, one of the ways it helps you strengthen your bottom line is, often, for example, I have a client that has a bodacious goal of $1 billion in a few years. And it's not about the goal that you lack, that is not clear. It's how do I get there in the most effective, optimal, efficient, and culturally aware way, if that's the company that you're going to, the type of company that you want to run. So what I help you do is to really make sure that you have all component parts, all segments of running the business in play, not to just win one transactional goal or one game, but to take home the ring or the Super Bowl. In other words, we're going to be looking at not just our product that we're offering and our pricing, but our client and their experience. We're not just going to be looking at our systems and whether or not we're technologically innovating, but can we scale and is it sustainable? We're not just going to look at the people that might be one of the players, but the overall bench strength and whether or not they can really take us to the next level. So as a CEO, we're going to identify what's keeping you up at night, not what you're doing great, but where are your gaps and opportunities for improvement. And we're going to map out the strategy, the game plan to be able to close those gaps, not just in the moment, but in a long-term sustainable way by evaluating each and every component part of what it takes to run a successful, sustainable business and to be able to navigate through some of the hills and valleys, the ups and downs, the turbulent times that just comes with running business. So that's what you're going to have to look forward to as a CEO when we're engaged and we're doing business together.
That does make sense. So who do you have specifically? Do CEOs, or like do you have a specific niche, industry, job title? Like who do you typically work with, Scharrell?
So my client type, I say it falls into three different segmentations. There are obviously CEOs of organizations of a myriad of sizes. I'm industry agnostic because leadership is leadership. The area that is must be aligned is that you have to be a high performing leader. You have to be willing to do the work, and you have to be willing to make that commitment. So you definitely have to be high achieving. And then I also work with entrepreneurs that are in some instances moving from the C-suite into the entrepreneurial journey. And then there's also these young, ambitious leaders that are hungry, as you know, that are wanting to start their career out as entrepreneurs. And then I have the aspiring leader that typically is right underneath the C-suite. Perhaps an organization is hiring me to move someone from a VP level to a CFO, or perhaps they're in a role and they're right below that C-suite level. So it's entrepreneurs, it's the aspiring leader, and it is the C-level executive that I work with.
So tell me how that works when you're brought in to help a VP on track to become a CFO. Who brings you in? Is it the existing CFO? Is it the VP themselves? Is it L&D or CHRO? Like you work with different people, but who brings you in? Who makes the decision?
It depends on the company size. In some instances, when you're working with billion-dollar organizations, they have individuals that are assigned to help identify coaches for that organization. They may have a coaching bench in some instances, like some of my clients. You qualify to be one of the coaches on the bench. They put your name out to the coaches that qualify for coaching. You get interviewed, and then you're hired. In some instances, and most of mine is reputation. And so because of the outcomes, you build a reputation. And when a CEO knows that they need support, they may delegate it to the CHRO or L&D department, depending on the organizational structure, or they may reach out to me like a recent CEO did last week and let me know, hey, I got a VP, I want to move her up to a CFO. I'd like to have you coach with her over the next X period of time so we can get her where she needs to be. So it depends on the company size and it depends on the company structure. But typically it is through relationship in my instance, where there's a CEO who's going to make a call and delegate, or it's L&D and CHRO. But it really does just depend. Entrepreneurs typically are entrepreneurs. And then those aspiring leaders is typically their boss or their organization. But the aspiring leader doesn't typically hire me. They will recommend me, though, to their boss if they're eligible for coaching.
So what I'm always interested in understanding with leadership coaches like you, Scharrell, is how do you market? How do you brand? How do you get those different people knocking on the door? Is it typically the CHRO who's going to knock on the door? Is it the VP who's becoming the CFO? Is it the entrepreneur? Is it someone they know? Like what has worked for you to get the right people to knock on the door and be like, hey, I'm interested. Not buying it, but interested.
I have to say that it's been a very unique approach for me because many people have a very linear approach of how somebody gets in the door. For me, it's been the brand and the reputation. It could be LinkedIn, Instagram. It could be somebody seeing me on stage. And quite frankly, I don't do traditional marketing where I'm out trying to sell myself. I let the result of the work that I do actually speak for itself. So about 90% of the work that I do actually comes from referrals. It comes from individuals that I have supported, organizations that I have walked alongside their leadership team. And as a result of the outcomes, they end up sharing with someone else. So most of my marketing is done through my clients, quite frankly. And then there are individuals who may have seen me speak or heard me speak, heard about me. And as a result of that, after speaking engagements, individuals book on my calendar to meet me, to learn more about me, what I'm doing, because they have walked away with some tangible tools to elevate us leaders and they want more. So my marketing strategy has really been on stage as a keynote speaker or through my clients and their referrals. Although I keep talking about marketing, and I'm sure that, the investments that I'm planning on making in 2026 to actually do more traditional marketing, more intentional around, the outcomes will elevate it. But in full disclosure, I have not been a traditional marketer.
I mean, that's interesting. So what do you mean? What do you have in mind for 2026? Like, what are you thinking of implementing?
Well, there are three masterminds, excuse me, that I have just introduced into the world as a result of traveling around the world last year, hitting multiple countries and seeing that there was consistent need across the board. One is financial mastery, which is a segmentation of leadership to support individuals and how to build financial freedom by the power of decision, decisive excellence, not just leading their life in alignment with how much money they think they want to make, what the world says about 401k and investments, or how to pay their bills through a budget, but holistically understanding the power of money, the decisioning around how we utilize and leverage money to our benefit, and ultimately positioning yourself for financial mastery. There's also inner mastery, because what we're finding is that many individuals, regardless of their level of success, their economic status, or their goals and objectives, are struggling internally with reconciling the level of success that they want and the pure joy and peace that they want to live with. So inner mastery is another mastermind that I am offering to individuals who really want to level up and lead at the best version of themselves, conquer the noise from the external and internal, to be able to make decisions with decisive excellence, to get clear on their end game, and then to align their decisions with the experience they want to have, life they want to live, like I said, legacy they want to, leave, and the story they want others to tell. And then the last mastermind that I have is the Unshakable Woman. Is focusing on women and moving them to a state not only of career elevation, but leadership excellence, shifting them to a space to be able to deal with some of the areas that many women struggle with: boundaries, the imposter syndrome, conversations of clarity, the power of no, asking for what you want, being clear on your end game, and walking them through the confidence camp so that women can actually qualify themselves and be able to deal with the barriers to entry to elevate their lives to the highest level, whether they're self-imposed barriers or barriers that they believe are imposed by others. So those three masterminds I recognize worldwide. It's a necessity. So that's something I'm going to be intentional about sharing across the globe for individuals who are interested in elevating their leadership.
So it's mainly masterclass then. It's launching new masterclasses. So is that correct?
Masterminds, yes, 3 new masterminds.
Mastermind, yeah.
Yes, and then through those masterminds, there will also be some master classes, to your point, and then there's always the opportunity to get into the one-on-one coaching. What I'm finding is that everybody can't afford a high performance executive coach, but everybody deserves an opportunity to elevate and become the highest version of themselves that they're capable of being and that they commit to becoming. And so my goal is to be able to open up the opportunity to individuals so that they don't feel like they're left out and left behind, because perhaps they might not be able to get a coach, but maybe they can join a mastermind. Maybe they can get in a master class. And so what I want to be able to do is share those offerings to individuals who truly want to elevate, but they need a pathway because they lack clarity, right? And so what do? We bring them to a place of clarity.
So I like this. This is offer though, right? This is not marketing per se. I mean, it's a new offer that can get new people through the door, but it's not like you're gonna, I don't know, start a YouTube channel or dance on TikTok. I'm sure this could work. It's like a new offer that you add to the offers that you have already. To go back to the
already dance on TikTok, but
oh really? Interesting. How much business do you get from that?
It's interesting because I have an Instagram, I have a YouTube channel, I'm on TikTok. Okay. I literally took time to be quiet for the first couple of months of the year. I'm actually just reactivating it this month, but prior in 2025 and prior, you will see that I'm very active. In fact, I do Monday motivations where I actually dance on Instagram, but it hasn't really been about me marketing my business. It's been about me supporting the community and elevating them to a higher level of leadership thinking. Now, in full disclosure, there are individuals that as a result of seeing me on social media will reach out, schedule, and then end up becoming coaches or hire me to speak. But the strategy wasn't around trying to get business. The strategy was about creating impact in a more abundant way so that I could participate in elevating individuals to a higher version of themselves.
But so I mean, I love this, Scharrell. What, just for me and the audience to understand then, what do you mean with you're not doing marketing the traditional way? Because to me, I mean, B2B coaches and consultants speaking at conferences, creating thought leadership and authority content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, this is this is traditional marketing, which is
Mhm.
not a bad thing, by the way. It's actually rather a good thing, in my opinion. But so, what do you mean with? Do you have a specific way to do it, which is why you say you don't do traditional? Like, what do you mean?
I think what I find is that most people, when they are approaching marketing, it is a strategy to increase their revenue, EBITDA, and ultimately their bottom line. And for the most part, having run companies for a myriad of years, 30 plus years, the strategy is to market in order to gain. And I market in order to elevate. So when I am marketing and I am putting together my strategy of execution, does it yield me opportunities for individuals to work with me? Absolutely, it does. But in full transparency, this is about how I can support individuals, create significant impact, and elevate individuals in terms of how they think, how they live, and how they lead. And so traditionally, most business owners are not marketing for that purpose. They're marketing for the purpose to increase the bottom line. And what I have found is that marketing primarily to be able to create impact, to support individuals in meeting a need that they have, to close gaps around questions that they may have, whether they are a client or not, is not the traditional marketing strategy. And so that's what I mean when I say that.
It's interesting, and thanks a lot for the clarification. I think that's touching upon something that, in my opinion, every B2B coach and consultant should be aware of in 2026 and beyond. Information is a commodity now. We live in a trust recession world. Anybody can claim anything on internet. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if we invest time into something, we hope that somehow it will pay in the future, whether that's through monetary return investments, but maybe recognition, or just like the pleasure and the satisfaction of having helped someone else. By the end of
Mhm.
the day, there's that time to get something out of it, monetary or not. I think the more you can position your marketing as a, hey, here is all the things that I can put out there. Like, you can take this home and do it all yourself. Like, no hold back on the information. If you want my one-on-one time, then of course it becomes a different conversation. I think building that, embedding what you say into the traditional way of doing marketing for B2B coaching and consulting is how people are going to win in 2026, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Talk to me about moving those to, a conversation, a sales conversation, an SOW, a letter of engagement. How do you go from speaking engagements, dancing on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, to getting someone to book a call with you? And then from that call to move into a, hey, maybe we should, discuss how I can help. Like, how do
Mhm.
you move the sale forward?
What happens is that first and foremost, the person has to be the avatar, right? Most of my clients are in some way, shape, or form the leader that I once was. And as a result of the connectivity between what's said, what they hear, and the transformation that happens within their mind, it positions them to want to learn more. When individuals reach to learn more on how I can support them, we just have an authentic conversation about their needs gap, their leadership gap, and what I'm bringing to the table. It's not about me trying to sell someone anything. It's about me determining whether or not I'm qualified and they are qualified to work together to elevate them to a higher performing leader. And through those conversations, when there is a match, it literally just works itself out. Other than if someone simply can't afford it, it has positioned me to think about how can I further support them because they deserve to elevate whether they can afford it or not. So this is why I'm working on things like additional curriculum that people have an opportunity to buy, video teachings that I have an opportunity to teach, elevating my Instagram so that when individuals are on, they can actually learn something tangible and apply it if they so choose to. But in the funnel of somebody meeting me, hearing me, or being at a particular speaking engagement and making the decision to book an appointment on my calendar, through that conversation, then we're able to determine whether or not we're a great fit. And to the extent that we are, it literally is the individual's decision on whether or not they want to make the investment in themselves in order to elevate. Because this is not about buying something from me. This is about investing in yourself in order to get the outcome you want for your life. And so if people are really ready to elevate, then they're going to make the decision. It's not that complicated. Either you want to get better or you don't, right? And to the extent that, who we are as people align, then we end up going through that process of the engagement letter, the invoice, the intake, gaining clarity on walking them through even what their end game is, because most people don't know. They know they have a goal, but they don't really know how they want to experience their life. They haven't even really thought about it. And so we start navigating through the process, and bada boom, bada bang, your life changes. And so that's literally what the process is. And then you can go tell a friend, because your life literally changes. You elevate. And so the outcomes allow new opportunities to come my way.
I like that. So, Scharrell, let me flip a bit the narrative here, because it seems that, you have it all figured out, right? You know how to market in a non-pushy way. You know how not even having to sell, because it's going to be a conversation around, hey, are we a fit to each other? And I like the approach. I think this is very healthy as a way to do business. What's your number one challenge right now? Like, what's one nut that you're trying to crack that, once you crack, you're going to take the whole thing to the next level? What would that be for you?
The number one challenge for me has been capacity. When I step off a stage and I have tons of people book something on my calendar, it calls me to reevaluate how can I support individuals in a manner that lets them know that they matter. And so that's one of the reasons why I've been quiet in Q1 on social media, because I needed to sit back and look at how can I further improve the operational efficiency to be able to support individuals in a way while I also maintain and protect my own end game. And that is to not move in a space of burnout or, living in a way where I'm losing my peace, because I exemplify what I teach. So that's been my biggest challenge. I am hopeful that some of the things that I'm in the process of implementing now through my workflow, elevating my team, I think bench strength is critical. And betting on a new process will allow me to create more impact in an abundant way. But that by far has been the biggest challenge, is capacity.
That is a good place to be in. What's next for you then, Scharrell? So you have the masterminds, the masterclass. What's one big opportunity that you're looking forward to working on in 2026 and beyond?
What's next for me is creating a deeper level of impact. So I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to be on your platform, to be able to make others aware in a broader way across this world that what you need to take your leadership to the next level, personally, professionally, or in your community, is available to you. And you don't have to get ready. You just need to make the decision. So leveraging the softwares to be able to create deeper impact is something that I'm being intentional about. The other thing is finishing my book. I'm writing a book, The Power of Decision. I've been a collaborative author on a few books. And so now I am working to complete my book this year. And then once I have gotten to a place where I can execute in the next endeavor, it would be to launch a podcast. But not before I can do it without the clarity of knowing that I won't be sacrificing some of the things in my life cadence that's critical, and that's my peace and my joy. So those are the things that are next for me.
I love that. Those are all things that we can wish for you. Is that proper English? I think so. Scharrell Jackson, ladies and gentlemen. Scharrell, if people want to find out more about you, see what you do, where should they go?
You can come to my website. That's scharrelljackson.com. So it's pretty easy. Or you can follow me on Instagram, leadership.in.heels, HEELS. Or connect with me on LinkedIn and also my YouTube channel, Scharrell Jackson. So I appreciate this opportunity. It's really been a pleasure.
I appreciate you. We'll put all the links in the description. For what I'm concerned, I can say one thing for sure. You've gained at least one new connection on LinkedIn out of this interview. Me,
Well.
I just added you. Scharrell,
Hey,
thank you
one
so
to
much.
one leads one to many. So I am most.
There we go. Step by step. Rome wasn't built in a day.
That's right.
Scharrell, thank you so much for coming on Consulting Leaders.
Thank you so much, Killian.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Leaders Podcast. We hope you learned valuable lessons on how to grow your practice and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.